now you know that's possible. So you're always going to have this anxiety that at one point in time you might slip back into it. That was the thing that I'd always heard about acid too that scared me when I was a kid. Flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks.
They would tell you, bro, it stays in your fat.
Yeah.
The acid stays in your fat, man. Then one day you're just fucking driving down the road and the road becomes teardrops. I'm like, what? Yeah, man, you have a flashback. People die that way. I was like, it was like always the thing. Like if you take acid, like maybe you'll never come back.
Yeah, I think I took so much acid one time. The most acid I ever took when I was 19 years old, maybe 18. Me and my buddy Dan Doherty, we got a medicine dropper, this fucking hippie kid, this fucking real big known hippie in my town. He was like, dude, I got acid. And when hallucinogens came to town in New York, where I was at, Rockland County, New York, when hallucinogens came around in the early 2000s, late 90s, you got them because they only came around once in a while. There'd be like a fucking hippie festival upstate and like people would bring strips of acid down or they would have mushrooms, but it was so rare. So when you would hear about somebody having it, you'd fucking drive. We used to drive from Rockland County, which is right outside of New York City. We used to drive up to Albany because there was a guy that would get it up there and we would fucking pick it up when he had it. And he had it like twice a year. But this kid was like, dude, I have liquid acid in an eyedropper. We're like, oh no way, dude, let's do it. He was like $3 a hit, which is super cheap. And then my buddy Dan, I remember he did like 2 drops and I was like, oh, sweet, dude. He was like, all right, let me do another one. And then he went, and I did too. And then he was like, I want to do another one. And then he went and squirted it. And I went, holy shit, dude. I was like, well, I can't let you do that by yourself. And I went,
oh my God.
It. We gave it back to the guy and he looked how much was left in it. He was like, dude, he was like, don't pay me. He was like, you didn't get this from me. And then he just walked away from us.
Wow.
And then within 10 minutes, dude, within 10, you know how acid takes like 45 minutes to come on?
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes, I'm talking about on another planet, dude. Another fucking planet. Just within 5 minutes of that, I lose Dan. Dan's running down the street like a lunatic.
When you say another planet, like what are you experiencing?
Just extreme, like, I don't even remember most of the trip, but I remember I saw a friend and they got in their car and the lights from the car, it was like I was on a spaceship, dude. It was just like the music and it was just like the hardest I've ever tripped by far. And it's everything, like the visuals, the sounds, the feeling, but such an intense trip, like scary. It started becoming really scary, started going down the road where, everything is everything. Like that was my conclusion, was like that life is death and death is life. And, sound is the same thing as a fucking table.
Right.
Just being a fucking lunatic. And I remember like starting to think, it kept on coming into my head to kill myself because that's an experience that I can only experience once. It was like just really scary fucking thoughts. And I tripped for 2 full days, 48 hours straight, didn't sleep, just kept on tripping. Then I finally fell asleep, and then the next morning I woke up, and it was like I had taken a hit of acid the next morning, but it was normal enough that I was like, so really for like 3 days I tripped.
And when you were tripping, what did the world look like?
There was just like the world, it's a great question. It's a really great question. I'm trying to remember what my perspective was on how the world looked. I remember being at a Dunkin' Donuts and just sitting there at the table and just fucking thinking about numbers a lot and just fucking...
Numbers?
Yeah, and everything was just fucking brighter. It wasn't pleasurable at all. It wasn't like...
Why were you thinking about numbers?
I don't know. I was just... The numbers were just like coming into my head and I was just repeating like fake math equations that weren't real.
How do you know they weren't?
Maybe they were real. I know where
you wrote those bitches down. What if you wrote those bitches down and someone like Eric Weinstein would look at them and go, what are you doing here? Where did you learn this? Oh my God, this is the solution. And they run over to one of those fucking Goodwill Hunting chalkboards.
I figured it all out.
Imagine if that's what ideas are when you're tripping. What if you're catching like an alien life form it comes in the form of an idea. I've thought about this a lot. I know it's a stupid premise, but everything that people have made ever has come from